Simple and fun. Get done. Timmy with intro. Now, I'm joining you for a quick little 4 a.m. or 3:55 a.m. live because inspiration has struck on me, and I had this realization when I was going through, just reflecting, as I do at 1 a.m. During my trading time, about one of my clients that we've had join our school group recently, who's done really well. I was like, okay, because I like to evaluate like what's going well, what's not going well, how do we reflect and like deliver something better every time. And the main thing that I realized that we did is, so I'll give you some context. This is you know his name, now you know his story. Actually, you don't know his name, but he came in not being too sure about what exactly to do content wise, but the main issue was 4 or 5 months had gone by in which he was like, I know that I need to make content, I want to get consistent with my business, and I want to start putting my story out there, creating a personal brand for myself. But he was just like, for whatever reason, it's not happening. I just haven't posted about it, and I don't know, like I don't know what's going on. So we jumped on, decided to break down what was going on. So our goal was essentially get started posting content and get clients, get consistent business. That was one of the issues. Is okay, I feel like I've got the proven the proof that the business works. People want this, but I don't have consistency. Like I don't have my own source of things consistently coming in. I think you might be able to hear Zeke faffing about, scratching himself a bit in the background. So what we ended up doing was, I have this little framework that I use for getting things done, breaking tasks down, and allowing you to take action in a way that creates momentum, especially when we're trying to go from 0 to 1, when we're starting something, like when you're starting martial arts or when you're starting weight training, if you are starting making content, or if you're starting business. It is it's very difficult when we build it up into what we do. Let's go, Mr. Chinky Patrick, putting in work. Yes, sir. Always, bro. Always. Every day is Red Bull Friday. So I had my laptop in front of my thing, so I couldn't see people commenting. But yeah, when we're starting something new, we tend to build it up in our head. We do what I call cascading. Or we build it up into this big monumental task in which we develop an all or nothing mindset for. If I can't do all of this at once, essentially post content consistently, have it be the perfect kind of content, get business with it, or if I don't get in and I'm not good at grappling straight away and good at martial arts, or if I don't add 10 kilograms of muscle and get lean, tan, tall, shredded, then I'm not going to do it. And then what happens? We just go, okay, well, I know that's not going to happen on day one, so I'm not going to do it. Obviously, ideally, we want to actually be doing these things. So put ourselves in a position where we can do it. But it's not enough, I find, to just tell you what not to focus on, but to tell you what to actually focus on instead. Because if I were to just tell you, don't think of a pink elephant, what do you think of? You think of a pink elephant. In skiing, they say you don't look at the tree that you want to avoid going into, but then it's like, what are you looking at instead? What are you gonna do? Otherwise, if I just tell you don't do something, your brain doesn't really register the subconscious. Your subconscious doesn't register negative. So if you say don't do something, all you're hearing is do this. You know what I mean? Just like we had with the pink elephant example. So what I find way more useful is like, what do I want you to focus on instead? So if I told you, think of a cup of coffee, easier. You think of a cup of coffee, you're not thinking of avoiding anything, you're just thinking of a cup of coffee. Easy. If you're with the skiing, I'd say, look at the path, look at where you want to go. So you look back at the skiing path. Chinky Patrick, 1,000 or some number, 100,000% amazing quality content. Let's go. Let's go. Appreciate you, bro. You're putting in work as well. It's 4 a.m. for you as well. We live in the same city, bro. So what are you doing up at 4 a.m.? What day is it? It's Tuesday, bro. Anyway, maybe this guy's a workhorse, bro. It's always the workhorses calling you a workhorse. I appreciate you, bro. I see you. Also, his username is Chinky Patrick. I'm not just calling some guy, although I can. I've got the pass for that one. So, coming back to it, the intent that I've laid a little bit of the groundwork. I'm drawing you in with the framework, the concept behind what we're doing with this. So the framework is, I call it IRB. I'm sure there's a better name for it, but it's just an acronym. IRB. Actually, no, that's pretty good. I call it the IRB Framework for Content. So we go intention, reward, and breadcrumbs. What we're doing is we set the intention first. Here's what I would like to do. So intention, focus, same thing. This is the direction we want to go. We're clear on that. And we keep it very simple because, like I said, simple and fun get done. So instead of hard and complex, which is not ever done, I don't have a better phrasing for that. Simple and fun, they are what get done. And so when we are focusing on those things, we tend to be able to hone in our focus. I was adjusting the camera, which is why I trailed off there. From there, we reward ourselves. And I'm very, very big on, especially when you're starting something, reward yourself as much as possible. And the first thing, and a lot of the time, mindset-wise, we're very afraid to reward ourselves and pat ourselves on the back because we're afraid of being complacent. But again, if you do things from avoidance of fear, you tend to steer into that because that's what you're focusing on. So with rewarding, we're rewarding ourselves for being on the path. And I keep it nice and tangible for myself. I just remind myself, the reward is the process. The reward is this process. That's it. So the fact that I want to do this, that I've set the intention, that I'm taking the steps and putting myself in the situation to do this, that's the reward. Each one of those is a reward. And each stage, each thing that I do, I'll remind myself, this reward is the process. The reward is this process. The specific phrasing doesn't matter too much, but that's the idea behind what we're doing. We're rewarding ourselves. And essentially what I've actually done, the B bit, the B bit of IRB is the breadcrumb bit. And that's what we've done even with establishing the framework. So what we'll do is we will then chunk it down into the smallest possible breadcrumb that you need to follow next, because then we'll just follow that. And from there, we'll find the next breadcrumb. We don't have to eat the whole piece of bread at once. We just have one breadcrumb at a time. Hopefully that analogy didn't fall apart. Patrick, is this like replacing negative habits with positive habits to create positive reinforcement? Yeah, exactly, bro. My guy, Mr. Chinky Patrick. Just go ahead. Like, it takes me 5 minutes to talk about this thing and you summarize it in one sentence. Too good, bro. Exactly that. So I'll repeat that. We are essentially, as my boy Patrick has said, we're replacing negative habits with positive habits to create positive reinforcement, which I'll add to that, creates positive momentum. Because a lot of it is the momentum of what we're doing. And we got to understand, when we're going from not ever posting to posting, for example, or if you're going from never having done martial arts before to doing martial arts, or starting a new martial art, for example, me with grappling, always new. With that, if you haven't been doing it for a long time or ever before, that's still momentum. It's the momentum of stillness, which has a momentum itself. Law of physics, objects in motion stay in motion, objects at rest stay at rest, unless acted on by an external force. Hopefully I've got that right. My physics guys, my scientists, let me know, because I might just be pulling laws out of my butt. But those tend to be, that is just, I've observed that as well, anecdotally, is physics. When you have momentum going a certain way, it's much easier to maintain that momentum. It tends to maintain itself. It's perpetual. It feeds on itself. So when we're wanting to break and change the momentum, going from 0 to 1, going from not doing something to doing something, we have to act on it with an external force. And that creates momentum. And so this is what we're doing. This is how we break it down, like breadcrumb it. by breadcrumb as a verb, I'm going to use that. We're going to breadcrumb things, bro. I realize as well, I use a lot of food analogy. I call people big sauce. I say it's all gravy, baby. And now we got breadcrumbs. This is the food channel, baby. Cooking with Kang. Let's go. Anyway, my mind is broken. It's the 4 a.m. But it's good. I'm about to head to bed after this anyway, so I'll just pour out everything into you guys. Got a beautiful city view here. Good times hanging with my dogs. They actually just came out. But yeah, so breadcrumbs. We'll bring the food in. Oh, and I say in my broadcast channel, I'm like, I'll give the free sauce. So, bro, it's all the through line is just food. I'm just like a hungry guy. Apparently. So when we breadcrumb things, we break them down into their smallest component. That's what I mean when I say breadcrumbing. I like that, actually. I like that. If I do say so myself, we're breadcrumbing right here. I've just kind of had that realization. Here, Mr. David Reckham, I like your striking style. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you. I like my striking style too, and I'm learning. I'm rounding it out, we're improving and stacking on the style, bro. I appreciate it. What about it do you like, bro? Let me know. Always curious to know what specifically. Be specific. Cool. So when we're breadcrumbing something down to create positive momentum, we are breaking it down into its smallest components so that it is so easy to do that it's actually harder to not do it. It becomes such an obvious tiny next step to take that you're like, oh, it's not actually difficult anymore. It's just an easy thing, because a lot of us think I need to take this one massive step up. If you were to, for example, take a step up, like as if it was a box, like I've got to step up onto this thing that's twice my height, and I have to do it all in one swift step. And I've never taken a step like this before. I've never stepped up before. I've only stepped forward. It's not going to happen, bro. You're just going to be like, oh, okay, what's going to be easier? I'll just do this instead. I'll just look over here, and you just leave it. But if I were to be like, okay, how can we take a step this big up? So like, just, it can seem so insignificant. How can I take this step up? And you do that and be like, oh, it's fine. Like, I feel like nothing. How can I take the next step up? And you do that, and it builds and it builds and it builds. And that's the way I like to create positive momentum in my life in any aspect. And for me, a core part of my journey as of late has been realizing that that's how I tend to operate. I don't do very well with the just lock in and go all, like, I talk about all in being relative, and I'm glad that I've said that for a while. I think that it's very important to go all in, but when you do it, when you've given yourself the space to do it, how can we breadcrumb it? How can we break it down into its smallest components so that we're not just in this rift of, like, for example, because I've talked people through this before, like, and I've done it, is like, when you quit your job, for me, it was very easy to quit my job to pursue my passion. It was very easy for me. I could have very easily just got into this rift of like, oh, what do I do? There's so much to do. But I breadcrumbed it. I went, okay, I'm a receptionist at a gym. I've quit the job. I don't know where I'm going to go, but I know what I want to do. I want to be a PT. So what's the next step from there? What's the next breadcrumb? Research. Let's find out, oh, hey, this PT goes to the gym that I currently work at as a receptionist. This guy used to be a PT as well. Let's sit down with them and ask them some stuff. You just ask them, I see them in the gym, write the notes down. Oh, cool. Okay, act on those notes. Do some research, apply the research. What comes after that? It was find a gym that's a good deal for me. Okay, what are the main gyms that I can see around? I've got this gym, this gym, this gym, this gym. This gym charges this much. This gym charges this much and gives me this, that. This gym is this much and this gym is this much. And I can compare from there. And then I go, oh, okay, cool. I'm going to go with this gym. Actually, last minute, that's when I found Revo instead. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a way better deal than all of the other gyms. I'm going to be a PT here. So then what's the next step? Go in to the gym, ask at reception, hey, you guys looking for anything PT-wise? I've just got my certs. I'm looking to do this. And obviously breadcrumbing it before that was getting my certs. And then I went, cool, what do I do? Meet up with the manager, organize a time to meet up with the manager at the gym, and then the owner. I think I met with the owner at the time, the founder, Andrew, he's a cool guy. And then I was like, how do I just start? And then what do I do from there? I had a mentor, a guy who PT'd me before. He offered me some mentoring sessions, paid $500, had paid $500 for those, which is fun because I was making $500 a week, and I was like, yeah, of course, I'm going to pay for this stuff, almost naively. And then I just started working with him. We did 3 sessions together, suss some stuff out. What's the offer? What do you do? Go in the gym for 8 to 10 hours a day. Just be there, be a face in the gym, build community, put the vibe out there. Okay, cool, that's what I do. And then you just act on that. Oh my guy, Yuan, how much did Revo charge you to be a PT there? At the time, I'm just double check. Do I have anything that was in the contract that said not to tell? No, there's nothing bad. At the time, it was $192.50 a week to PT at any of the 6 locations that we had at the time. But keep in mind, this is like 2019. July of 2019 is when I started. So that's what they were charging. But other gyms, there was like Good Life, $320 a week for one gym to just train at the one place. Snap Fitness was the one I was actually going to go with, $250 a week for one gym. You still had to pay like an $800 loading fee or something like that for your marketing. And you had the lock-ins and all that. But Revo was like, no, we don't charge you anything for marketing. We just charge the rent. You obviously have a minimum period, but you can PT at any of the 6 gyms. I was like, whoa, what a fantastic deal. Why aren't more people doing this? I believe that's a big part of why Revo's grown to where they are today and continue to grow. They always prioritize giving people a good deal, and they feel good about it. And it makes people want to be a part of the club. Plus, they have a very strong organic marketing social media presence, which is huge. And they're really good at conveying their values in a fun, simple and fun way that makes people want to sign up and be part of that. And they actually create a culture in which their members create content for them and constantly promote them. And their job, a lot of it is to share it, but they're also very proactive. And they were even proactive with the 6 gyms back in Perth to now 50 plus gyms, with posting on social media. And I was a part of some of that earlier stuff as well. Very fun times. If you scroll back far enough, you'll find it. And I'm very grateful to have been part of that. Mr. Patrick, right, that makes so much sense. So similar to like fighting, where the coach makes it fun to attend. Yes. Then focus on basic techniques before moving into combos. Is that right? Yes, you're right, man. We got to build foundation. If I were to just, and interestingly enough, sometimes I do this to my guys, I'll just chuck them in and be like, let's spar. I'll explain, I want to see how you move naturally, which is contrary to what some people do, but I'm not like hard sparring or anything. I'm like, okay, let's see what habits there are so that I can get an individualized idea of where you're at. That gives me the first breadcrumb. Here's what we need to work on relative to you. Because some people have natural instincts for things. So if I have the capacity to work with someone in a one-to-one sense, like when I was doing more sparring coaching, then I'd just be like, show me what you got already. Because a lot of the time, these guys were already doing martial arts. If they'd never done it before, I'd probably break it down more to the technique point. Technique, the concepts that accompany it, so that there's an understanding of why, and then you build off of that. So breadcrumbing allows you to build things as well. I call it building up. So you start with the smallest component and then you build up and up and up from there, but you do it in a way that the steps are so small that they're easy, simple, and fun, as you said, Mr. Chinky Patrick, and they compound over time. That's another little principle. Is like I'm expanding on the breadcrumbing, is you allow small actions to compound over time. It's not about going from 0 to 100. It's going from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3. And how do we make that as manageable as possible? Because a lot of people want to do it all at once, but you underestimate we tend to overestimate what we can do in 3 months, but underestimate what we can do in 1 year. I like to put numbers to it. Finances, for example, a lot of people are like this big goal that doesn't have a tangible pathway or strategy, where they'll be like, I want $1 million in the bank. I want to retire. It's like, what does that mean? What can we break that down? How do we breadcrumb that tangibly? And the way to do that is, for example, break it into a really easy component. Like if you put $111 away into a low yield return investment, then do that every single week. If I said that, $111 a week, every single week, not financial advice, for 30 years, you will have $1 million. Not by saving it, by investing it. You will have $1 million to the side by the time you're 30. In 30 years. So for me, that'd be when I'm 57, and you'd be like, is that enough to purely retire on? No, but you're able to invest that accordingly if you want. But it's great to know, okay, back in my mind, that's taken care of. I set that rule. It's simple, it's fun, it can be done very easily. It's not this big monumental task all at once, but I can do that. I invest accordingly, and then and I just end up with it. I end up with my investments being taken care of, and what that allows me to do. This is part of the 50-20-10 rule that we've established, which is then that allows us to invest more aggressively into skills in the short term or in the immediacy. Like content creation is one of the skills that we're most bullish on, because we got like about a 2-year runway in which getting in now is the best time to really establish yourself. Obviously 2 years ago was fantastic as well, like when we started 2-3 years ago, and forget 2-3 years and forget, but it's only getting better. So to be ahead of the curve is one of the best things you can do, the smartest things you can do. It's like, imagine if you invested in Tesla stock 30 years ago, or iPhone stock, Apple stock 30 years ago, Amazon Prime stock. It's like just being an early adopter, being ahead of the curve is such a fantastic and smart thing to do whenever you can. So whenever you've got like a Mystic Mac, or me, I've got a Mystic Yana that has a crystal ball that can see these trends. I predict these things. Then I'm gonna fart. Then you listen to these things, and you go and you do it, and that's what we've done, and that's why it might always seem like we get lucky. But why? It's because we're consistently analyzing these things and taking action in accordance with it. Otherwise, you just watch them all pass you by. Anyway, Patrick here. Did I finish talking what I was talking about first? Because Patrick's is already written down. I'll come to your question in a sec, Patrick. I won't read it, otherwise my mind will just making sure I finish that point. Yes, so you can allow the point of that, the breadcrumbing into manageable daily actions, is that allows you to compound what you're doing every single day. So even in terms of, if you were to get 1% better every day, the total value of that 1% increases over time. So 1% of, say, we'll keep it simple. Say you have a level 100 skill set right now. Well, that sounds really high. 100 out of like a million, let's say. So 100 and 1% would be 1. So then you've got 1. But tomorrow, 1%, because you've added 1% already, it's 1% of 101. So then you're going 1%, which is 1.01, or something gets added on. And then you're adding 1% of 102.1. I'm straining myself maths wise here. It's 4:18 in the morning. But that compounds, and you see how quickly that stacks up. It's the eighth wonder of the world, some people say, compounding interest. And we can compound interest by way of our skills and our habits as well. And I find that so cool, because even content works like that. It's an asset that you can have that just sits there and can become passive, especially when you know what you're doing, when you have a good strategy in order. Like Yana's a great example. She hasn't posted for quite a while on her Instagram, but she's got like, it increases, it just keeps jumping up, but like 8,000 people a month. I'm like, imagine getting your good quality content in front of 8,000 people a month. Like, free ads, basically. It, like, you know how much people pay to get in front of that many people every month? It's crazy, and it converts so well. So you've got this asset that you've allowed to compound over time, and it still compounds because then the views do that, and the algorithm's like, oh, people like this, we'll feed it to more people. So her thing's growing. For me, it's like right now it settles at about like 400k. It's over 400k a month, but I'm like, well, what a good asset to have. I've got constantly new people coming in, flywheel, seeing this stuff. All right, now I'm going to answer some of these questions. So before I beautify my social media account, Mr. Chinky Patrick, I should focus on pushing content and get used to speaking in front of the camera, then use data to improve my content over time. Yes, that's exactly what we're talking about, compounding the habit of creating content. So this framework that I've talked about, the IRB framework, essentially what it serves to do, and the intention that I set with my guys, and I set with my guy, I haven't even told you guys about the outcome of it yet, but I told him what we're going to be doing is we're going to be developing I've got two guys I can talk to you about. We're developing the habit of getting good at content. Exactly like you said, getting used to being in front of camera. And the point is getting you used to the daily habit of content creation, the weekly habit. Like one of my guys is weekly, another guy has done daily, like a little speaking challenge for himself. It all works very well. Obviously, the more frequently you can do it, I find the better you tend to do because it takes a lot of pressure off of it as well. But that's what we're doing. We are building up the habit of content creation. And that's where the beauty is. It's not about the result. It's about the habit and embedding that into who you are as well. Because then it just becomes, again, it's a passive asset that you've developed. Like for me, it's like I can make 10 plus pieces of content a day and I don't really feel like I'm doing much. I've done 20 before. I sit at about 10 a day. Actually, it's more than 10 because I have multiple platforms that I post to, and that's only taken into account about like 70% of the platforms that I post on. But like I don't feel like I'm slaving away doing content all day. I actually train more than I do content. Like I train for 4 hours a day, get to go to the gym twice a day, and use the sauna and all that. So it's like, cool asset to have, but it started by compounding over time. I used the IRB framework. Okay, Patrick, next question. Thoughts on taking things slow to find the right direction versus the rate of speed you're moving at? I would say it tends to be it's almost like the opposite and leaning into what you fear most. So if you're thinking, I've got to go slow, normally you're the kind of guy that needs to go faster. If you're like, I have to rush into these things, normally you're the guy that needs to slow down. So it's normally the opposite of what you're thinking. So it's not really one size fits all. But that's what I found in general. It's always the guys that are like, I'm going to do this, and they get a bit overzealous. They're like, I'm going to do this. I have to temper the expectations and pull them back a little bit because they're almost like, I'll use the analogy of like a bow and arrow. They're like, I want to fire off now, and they pull it back this far and then fire it, and then like, oh, why aren't I hitting anything? Those kind of guys, you've got to be like, okay, let's pull the drawstring back, and then Powhatan style. But you got to pull it back in order for the arrow to shoot forward more. But for some people, if they are just like, I've got to, almost overthinking things, I've got to do this and this, then it's like, okay, we need to create some momentum right now. What analogy do I have for that? Something will come to me, but I'll just give you the concept. It tends to be the people that think, I've got to, this, that, then the other, and you just find yourself in this momentum of stillness. That's where it's like, okay, how can we move a little bit and then start to snowball, essentially. Like we can think about it like a snowball. If your personality is someone, or the thing holding you back, the bottleneck is you're like a pebble at the top of the mountain. It's like, how do we just push the pebble forward a bit so that it starts to snowball and build that momentum? Breadcrumbing. So those are my things. I think when the best, and this is what I find for most people, like 95%, 99% of the guys that I talk to in relation to this, it's about action first, because we're already thinking about it. Everyone already knows, I got to make content. My guy here was like 4 or 5 months. Yeah, I know I want to make content. Another guy was a year, Lorenzo, and he was like, I know I got to make content. Like, I know I should start doing this. So the thing is action, and that's why we IRB it first. Action. This is I have another framework. So it's essentially action, reflection, adaptation. Because we're already thinking a lot of the time. We're already aware of, I need to do this. So then it's like, perfect. You've already done all the hard work of being aware of it. Fantastic. Let's take some action now. Again, breadcrumb it down so it's very simple. Use the IRB framework, IRB. Take action, reflect on that to make sure we're being directionally correct, and then adapt. And then that creates a loop in which we are able to keep positive momentum in the direction we want to go. Think about it like a car. Think about it like a car. Oh, perfect. That's better than the snowball one, I reckon. If you're not moving, you're just static steering. You're not actually going anywhere. You're just steering on the spot, wearing the tires out. If you just start moving a little bit, then you can turn the wheel and you start actually changing direction. You're actually doing something. You're actually going somewhere. So we refer to that as being directionally correct. You've just got to start a little bit of movement. From there, we can change directions. Otherwise, you're just in the same spot. It makes no difference. Like 99.999% of people are all static steering. They're thinking, wow, I'll just change and make sure I'm going in the right direction. I understand where they're coming from. And yes, that's correct to be directionally correct. But being directionally correct actually requires movement. If there's no movement, you're actually not directionally correct. You're just being still. So those are my thoughts. If comfortable, tell us about your investment strategies with stocks and any brokerage you use. Cool. And Chinky Patrick, amazing analogy and explanation. Legend. Thanks, bro. Let's go. I appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, I'm comfortable talking about investment strategies and stocks. Let me quickly wrap up what we did. So I'll basically tell you, like, we did the IRB framework, and the result was basically with one of my guys, posted his first piece of content within a week of joining the school group, got a client within the first week of that. So their consistency started to come through straight away. Another one of my guys that I realized I haven't talked about too much yet, Lorenzo, started posting content. We started working together first, and then content came into the equation later. But in the time that we've worked together this year, it's been about 6 months, he has essentially doubled the business. So they did some things like got a food truck that they'd wanted to get, and they have actually, he gave me some stats, but in the past year they've more than doubled the revenue, the sales of their food. So awesome to see. He's a workhorse, bro. He's the one that did a 30-day speaking challenge. So 60 seconds every day, he would just get in front of the camera and speak. I find that's a great style of content to make. Obviously, we established some things. We breadcrumbed that so that he would know what to be posting. But that momentum created a lot of things happening in other aspects, all aspects of life. And I'm very grateful we reflected on some of the work we did throughout the year. And he was just saying, like, it's life-changing. I'm like, wow, it's crazy, kind of crazy for me to think about, because it's life-changing for me to get to coach and teach these guys. But it's also, there's that reminder of like, oh yeah, this is life-changing for other people as well. Like if we think about where you were a year ago, it's cool. Like lifetimes worth of work would be done in a very condensed period of time because of this IRB framework, essentially. Cool. So that was that. And I almost always forget to mention, if you want to do the same kind of stuff, currently we're doing free trials, and we're actually operating some really like top tier stuff, very high touch point things because we just started the school group. So we're essentially kind of like, it's like a bit of beta testing, if you know marketing terms, in which we got a free trial, but we're doing very, very involved with our top guys to establish what the curriculum is going to be, different tiers. So essentially you're getting top tier, the top tier standard stuff for like a really good deal that you'd consider like low ticket type stuff. So bro, if you want to get in on that, like I have to see what capacity the team can handle. I'm figuring it out as I go. Maybe that's not a good thing to admit, but I'm just like, hey, I'm building in real time. And I think that's a really important thing to share with you guys, is like, I don't actually have 100% knowledge of all the answers, but I have my process, this process that I've talked about: action, reflection, adaptation. And that's it. That's all you've got to do. And that's exactly what I'm doing with school. I've built other businesses before, and I'll get into the investment strategy in a bit, but it's really just about doing that. And you're getting to see it unfold in real time with the school group. So yeah, if you're keen, you can DM me school, like SKOOL for that. And I can send you the link for it. More than happy for you guys to come in, try it out, see what you think. We've got a 1 week free trial. And yeah, you guys will get to see what's on the inside, essentially doing all the stuff that we've talked about there by way of content. It's for content specifically. So typically, if you already have a business, or you're just very bullish on content, bullish good kind of thing, then that's for you. If you're not really certain, then don't worry about it. You can look more into it. Go read the page. Like, the links are in my bio, or I'll send you the link. Okay, so coming back to it, if comfortable, tell us about your investment strategies with stocks and any brokerage you use. So Obviously, none of it's financial advice. I'll speak in terms of concepts, because that's really like the way that I do it. So the primary thing, like my investment strategy, is build a good team, a good lean team around you. So obviously, my primary investment by way of I see everything as an investment. So everything you surround yourself with is an investment. Timmy right here, he's an investment. Zeke, investment. Nah. Sort of. I'd summarize our investment strategy in what we call the 50-20-10 rule. So 50%, increase your income by 50% a year every single year. Invest 20% of what you currently make into something that will net you 10% return every single year, preferably something that you don't have to touch. And I've talked about that before with, for example, we invest for the long term. We make long-term plays so that we can invest more aggressively in the short term. So what that looks like tangibly is for us, well, a way that you can do it is investing $111 a week into something that's like I talked about, a low yield. I think I'm using the right term. See, I'm not even like crazy strategist here. You just got to use the concepts. Just like that kind of return, $111 a week for 30 years, that's $1 million in 30 years time, because it compounds, the interest compounds on that. And that allows you to invest whatever you have above that much more aggressively into current skills that will increase your income, which allow you to then stack into how much you can invest and put away, which means the more you put in there, the more obviously that compounds over time, like we talked about before. And there's a whole other sequence of like numbers to that strategy that we have. And these are like great starting points, I find, because they're breadcrumbed and broken down into really small components where it's like, okay, anyone can put $111 a week. Yeah, you can do that. And if you don't have that, then obviously focus on developing your skills. I'd say that's a primary investment. Always be developing skills. That's a massive part of the strategy, is like skills that give you leverage and options. So that's a lot of our strategy. For me, a primary skill I've realized has been content, because that's allowed me to both make more money for the long term that I then invest into that, but also make more money in the short term and give me leverage to be able to go wherever I want, do whatever I want. But I call the shots where I go. Not that I'm ever like walking into a gym and being like, I'm in charge here because of the content. No, that's not what I mean. As in, I call the shots over my life. I have leverage, so that gives me true choice. Like, because of the investment portfolio that we have, I know that I've kind of set that aside and I'll be able to go on and do whatever I want. Jules, thanks, Enterador MMA. Appreciate you, bro. What that, like, for example, and this is, I say this to bring into mind the long-term mindset aspect that we have of it. And this, I feel, will tie things together well. So our current portfolio, one of our businesses, or a collection of a couple of things, it's really primarily real estate, is it's at $9.9 million. But we leave that for the next 30 years. That's a $99.9 million portfolio. But most people aren't thinking like that. They're thinking, how do I make as much as possible now? Build for the long term. I see that similar to martial arts. I'm not walking in the gym day one being like, make me a black belt now. I'm thinking, how do I go on this journey? The point of the game is to stay in the game. How do I go on a journey that will allow me to be a black belt for life? Have that be part of who I am. And black belt beyond the belt itself, but who I am and who I get to be shaped into as a result of that, because it means that I get to make bigger plays in the short term. So if we come back to obviously constant skill development being the overarching principle, or constantly investing in yourself for the long term, that portfolio, so knowing that I've got that in my back pocket, I could at any stage if I wanted to, and there have been multiple stages where it's tempting. It's tempting to be like, okay, I'll bail, I'll like pull that money out, cash that portfolio out. But I'm like, okay, if I built this when we started from making like $200 a week at one stage, having an $800 a week mortgage, and investing in a $14,000 course with our last $4,000 in our savings. If I can do that and I can hold the space there and not bail, I can get through anything in the short term. So I can just let that portfolio keep building, allow that to be of service in its own way, and like have fun with that because it's a fun game. I can invest so much more aggressively into my skills in the short term. I can just go all in on content. I could spend all of my time doing content or working with only people that I want to work with, the right people. That comes from having leverage. So a big thing there strategically is have, again, intention, reward, breadcrumb, IRB strategy, the framework. Set the intention. That's a big thing intention-wise, is long-term combined with the short-term. So many people are either purely long-term or purely short-term. And I think you shoot yourself in the foot if you don't give yourself the ability to develop skills for both. So in terms of investment strategy, it's that. My brokerage is my wife. I keep that really simple. One of the biggest investments I ever made, and I think a lot of people don't necessarily see it this way, but they should, or it would be very helpful. I mean, should is whatever. Like, do whatever you want to do. There's no one necessarily should do anything, but I think it's a great shout to consider your partner, your wife, like a business partner, and consider your business partner like a marriage, because they are essentially one and the same, because your finances do get mixed together. It like legally, in Australia at least, that's what happens. In most of the Western world, it all comes together. So my wife was a massive investment for me. Not that I went in being like, you're going to make me rich. Investment in terms of energy and the people you have around you. Like I said, lean team. So our team that runs the businesses, actually, that business, the portfolio, the 9.9 mil, that team is my wife and I, if I have that correct. But then we have one other team member with us for the rest of our business work. She's fantastic. But it's like a team of 3 killers. If you think about it, you can run the world with 3 absolute killers. I know Joe Diaz has talked about that. But a lot of people are like, I need to bloat the team, essentially. I was thinking about this earlier. They're like, I'm going to hire someone as soon as I can. And it just gets really bloated. You accumulate a lot of fat that way. And this kind of feeds into the investment strategy, is practice fiscal discipline. That's such a, like, I always didn't like it when people said that, but because I didn't like it, it meant that it was the thing I needed to work on most. That's often the case with these things. So, for example, a lot of people get stuck in what we call golden handcuffs, in which they develop the ability to make more money, but they accumulate lifestyle bloat or fat as a result, in which I make more, so now I'm going to start spending more. My spendings, my outgoings, like discretionary spending, matches that. So say you start making 100K a year, then your expenses come up to 100K a year. So now you're like, oh, okay, it feels the same as if I was making 50K a year. And then people go 150K a year. Then they bring their spendings up to 150K a year, 200K. And then you actually end up trapping yourself, because imagine you do that all the way up to $1 million. You got $1 million worth of expenses. You have no leeway. You have no margin for error, really, if something were to happen in life. And some people love doing that. They're like, I do that because it helps me stay sharp. But I think it's important to look at what people have, like model the rise, not where people are currently, and look at what they do. So a lot of these people that have done these things, yes, there are periods that they go all in, but what are the principles? Invest above your means, invest for where you want to be, live below your means. And that's a big principle that I use strategically for investing, is invest for where I want to be. So for example, that's the We have $4,000 left in our savings. My wife comes along. Hey, there's this thing that's going to teach me some content and messaging back in 2021 to help me be an online coach when she'd never been an online coach before or even PT, never set foot in a gym as a PT before. Obviously knew what she was doing. We have $4,000 left in the savings. This is a $14,000 course. Should I do it? Yep. Empty the savings out, ask them for a payment plan, pay in 3. 6 weeks later, excellent results for clients. She didn't have to leave the house. $34,000 launch. Not bad. Good investment. Investing for where you want to be. What did we do during that period of time? Looking back at this the other day, we were like, oh wow, we eat pretty well now. But even then, we keep it lean. Bro, we were eating chicken breasts every day, bro. Chicken breasts and rice, vegetables, just doing what we needed, living below our means. But most people would live above their means and invest for what their current means as well. Or they'd live to their current means. I make 100K, I'll spend accordingly. And that's why people like year to year will go and be like, oh, I have a little bit in my savings. Maybe the saving comes up by 1,000 or 2, comes back down by 1,000 or 2. Most people are stuck at around saving 10 to 20K a year. And it's because of this. They don't invest for where they want to be. They invest for where they are now, and they live according to where they are now. Most people are too immediate and reactive to their immediate surroundings. This is where proactivity comes in really heavily. Proactivity is really important. Thinking about where you want to go, the direction, like I said, the intention. It all comes back to this IRB framework, IRB, intention. What's the intention for your life? Where do you want to go? Because then we're going to take action in accordance with that intention and that direction, really. Intention is direction. It's like a vector in physics. It has direction and it has magnitude. So you got to be moving towards it. Anyway, bit of a random thing there. And then you reward yourself for that, being on the journey. That helps to build momentum, and we breadcrumb it. So we break it into its most actionable components. And that is a big part of what we do. So, I mean, if I were to tell the story of how we did it, I've obviously given you some insight. A lot of it was through content. Because, like I talked about, invest for the long term, but also develop a skill in the short term. This is where I'd say go all in. Invest for where you want to be relative to that skill. You don't have to go all in. You don't have to empty out all your savings. Although for some reason there seems to be some power to being able to do that. I think that makes sense money-wise. A big thing is like work on your relationship with money and your money mindset. It's the stuff that most people want to skip over. They're like, no, just give me the strategy. But I'm like, well, you kind of know what to do already, so why aren't you doing it? It's the mindset. Like, the best strategy in the world means nothing if you don't follow it. You could have the worst strategy in the world, but it will outperform the best strategy in the world that's not followed, because if you just follow and implement that right strategy. It's not about the strategy, it's about the person behind it. So I invest in myself so that I can make any strategy work and actually follow it. Best plan in the world doesn't matter if you don't do step 1, if you don't follow it. So that's what I practice, even financially. So I said who the brokerage is. I said what the strategy is. I'm so big on skill development because that gives you so much leverage and so much security. Because think about why we want to invest. A lot of the time it's for security. That's what that portfolio is, to a degree, represents for me, is like the ability to take bigger swings, because in 30 years time you'll have $100 million sitting there. You'll be like, all right, we'll be all right. But I also want $100 million skill set, $100 million plus skill set. The next Hormozy book, $100 million skills. That's essentially what he's talking about there. Because you are the asset. You realize that, and just like with content, you are the niche. You are the content. It's your values. It's you. So I'm really big on that skill development because of the leverage that it gives you. And when you've got leverage, you have true choice. I'm very big on that. I got into this because I didn't want to have to work for a boss. I wanted to be able to do the things that I wanted the way I wanted, the amount that I wanted. And we did that. And that freedom is very free, can almost be too free. So you impose some structure on yourself, but it's good. It's a good thing to learn and to realize. All of it has actually come from having these frameworks, some of them unintentional at the time. The intention was always there, but some of these frameworks I developed unintentionally, and I'll look back and be like, oh, okay, cool, that's what I did. If I observe the pattern, that's what other people have done. This is the logic behind it, the psychology behind it. So now I can condense it into a framework that other people can apply, and instead of it taking them 5 years, it could take them 1. That's what teaching is, really. So, yeah. Investment wise, those are the main things. Develop a skill and invest for the long term. I'll say it again because it's such an important strategy. Invest for where you want to be. Invest for where you intend to be, for where you're going. And live below your means. Because living below your means gives you more money to be able to invest more heavily. Look, the biggest investments that we make, yes, we have investments in property, real estate, stocks, crypto, all of that fun stuff. Or the boring stuff, some people might actually say. But in the past few years, we've invested over $1 million into our learning, our education, our skill development. If we're looking at what we've put into, like the money we've put forth for some of the other investment stuff as well, and the action of getting to learn through that stuff, I'd actually say it's probably closer to $2 million plus. I don't know the exact numbers. I know it's at least $1 million that we've put in and invested into these skills. But you can see why using the IRB framework, or just that way of thinking, really, it's just a way of thinking. Frameworks just give you an idea of like a simplified process for it. It really comes down to the strategy behind it, and deeper than that, it's who you choose to be, because it's always a choice. It's worked well. We have a great portfolio now. Kind of wild to think about. I'm like, whoa, me? You know? We also have a lot of skills. We have a life of purpose in which my passion is my profession. And life is good. We have a lot of really good things going on for us. And ultimately, our life is an act of worship. We've gotten to get closer to God through all of these things. Through every act that we've taken has been, the intent has always been faith in alignment with our works, and our works in alignment with our faith. Honestly, if I were to tell you one thing, that would be the most important thing, because that will inform any investment strategy and that. But yeah, I think those are the most powerful things I can teach you, because when it comes to specifics, I don't think legally I'm allowed to say the specifics, but it's not going to be helpful for you. I'd rather teach a man to fish whilst giving him some fish than just giving him fish. Because if I make you dependent on me, yeah, that's great. I mean, for the short term, but it's like, I want to develop deep critical thinkers that are men that can lead. And men that can lead are men that have choice, have leverage from the skills that they've built and who they have chosen to be, who they've forged themselves into. Yeah. That was a great question. I'm sure some of this will be caught on the replay. I think I'll upload this to YouTube as well. I'll link that in my story because it might be easier for people to play through and listen there. The audio will be through the mic. I'm streaming it on Facebook as well, and I record it. But yeah, and I just realized I didn't start recording. So that's a good note. But at least I have it on my Facebook, and I can post that over to YouTube as well. But that's cool. At least there's a system in place, and this is the thing. Put systems in place so that all these things happen. I've got a system in place, and I didn't follow part of the system. Anyway, oh yeah, I guess I'll wrap up with because these things tie together. It's great that you asked about the investing, as well as from when we've talked about the skill work. The way we see it is we have two primary things: automatic income, so systematize your income so that it can be automated using the 50-20-10 rule, and automatic, and I guess these fit in together. Be an automatic investor. Adopt that identity and put systems in place so the investments feed back into themselves automatically, and you don't have to think about it then. Same with the income. And then you can develop skills on top of that system that allow you to invest more aggressively, and it grows that much faster. Okay. This is all the art of being man, and this is the art of content. Embody that, and it'll be all gravy, baby. Appreciate you guys. Remember, simple and fun get done. Follow the IRB framework. That's one of the main things. Intention, reward, breadcrumbs. All right. And I believe I've said all that stuff. Oh yeah, and you can kind of see it in the Facebook one, but haven't shown you here on the whiteboard. It says go to school. Go to school, bro. It's good. I mean, if I do say so myself, it's kind of easier for me to say because I got my team in there. So I'm like, I don't have to be humble. My team, I got a team of killers, bro. And I stand by the work that we do in there. So, I mean, I've detailed some of the stuff we go there. And like I said, if you were to invest in something, I'd say an excellent skill is content. We got a couple years. Best time to start was 2 years ago. Second best time was yesterday. Next best time is right here, right now, today. Get in on that free trial in the school. Yeah, I'm claiming it. Owning it. Join school. Right, Timmy? Timmy agrees. All right, catch you guys on the flippity flip. Love you guys. Appreciate... Oh, almost dropped Timmy. Appreciate you guys. 4:51 a.m. I'm going to sleep now. God bless. Serve God. Bye 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 bye.